episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. Today's a special episode, another one. Basically, in response to Laura's, Foodie Laura's allotment challenge, I've got another challenge for the people to do. So if you just answer the questions, put your comments below, or publish a video with your answers, that'd be great. Put the link below so everybody can get to you, and I'll go through the questions now. Okay, so in response to Foodie Laura's allotment challenge, I've come up with some more questions that I was thinking about whilst I was driving about this morning, and I just thought, you know, if I was to ask somebody 10 questions other than what Laura's already asked, you know, what would they be? So here goes, and what I'll do is I'll say the question. I'll write them all in the comments anyway later, but. I'll ask the questions, then I'll give you the answer that I would give. So the first one is, what do you like about your allotment the most? The answer to this could be, all over the place. It could be actually something specific about your allotment or whatever. But the thing that I like about my allotment the most is my garden is there, literally through. When you see the start and the finish parts of the video, there's a gate behind the allotment, which is just by the door of the greenhouse. That's the gate to my garden, so I can literally walk out of my house, and within seconds I'm here in the allotment. And that's the thing that I love about my allotment. I've known so many people who've had allotments that they have to drive to, or they live in the next village, or they live sort of miles away. And I know Mark was telling me earlier on this year when he got his allotment, said, "Oh, it's not too bad. It's only 20 minutes drive away." And I'm like, it takes me 20 seconds to walk to the allotment. So that's the one thing I love about this particular allotment. And the other thing is I like the way it's nice soil. I've had the allotment or the gardens that we've had in the past. Your soil is your biggest asset, and I've said that no end of times. But the soil that I've got here is really good soil. It's taken me a while to get it like that. I've put loads of stuff in, as you know, all sort of organic material and muck and whatever over the years, and I have improved but the starting point was good. It's not too stony, it's not too sandy. It's a nice quality soil, and that really is a good point about my allotment as well, which makes it easy for me to grow things, to be honest with you. The next question that I'd got was, what thing would you like in your allotment the most? Money being no object. What I would love to do is to put a polytunnel in my allotment, because you can grow so much in there. Things like sweet potatoes and stuff like that. You just throw them on the ground and they grow. Unfortunately, these things are quite expensive, but I could basically build one. But the reason I'm not is because the wind that we get up here, it'd just shred it, to be honest with you. There's been a few people, my next door neighbour John, and there's a couple of ladies down the bottom. They've had polytunnels, be them quite small, but within 12 months they're shredded. One winter, and they're absolutely, the wind just rips through them and just absolutely tears them apart. What you could do is put it up in the summer and then take the plastic off during the winter, but I don't know. I worry about the greenhouse staying here over the winter, to be honest with you, because the winds that we've had through here in the last couple of weeks alone. I know there's been the remnants of a hurricane coming through, but the wind does get quite bad up here. So if it was more sheltered, that broke the wind, if we were surrounded by more trees or whatever, I could perhaps get away with it and put a polytunnel up there. But I'm a bit wary of spending the money and time to put a polytunnel up to get it absolutely shattered. So the one thing I would love to have is a polytunnel, but unfortunately, because of the area that I'm in, it's just not possible. The next question, number 3, is what do you dislike about your allotment? I had to put some positives and negatives in. What I dislike about the allotment the most? There aren't many things I don't like about it, but the one thing I don't like is the fact that the bottom floods. And I've put drains in, and I've tried to, sort of make it a bit better, than it is, and I have got it pretty good now. But that's that was the one bugbear that I had, the other thing that I would say is I've got some bindweed in the allotment, which is a real bugbear to me. I hate to see weeds in an allotment, but the bindweed is a real bind, if you can excuse the pun. But the two things, if I could change things, or the things that I dislike about the allotment, is the one that the bottom end gets quite waterlogged in the winter and in the spring, which has caused me problems in the past. And the second thing is the fact I've got bindweed in the allotment, and as much as I dig it out, it always seems to find its way back. So that's the two things that I dislike about my allotment. Next question, number 4, is what's your least favourite job in in the allotment? My least favourite job is weeding. Some people, it's strange, it depends on the person. Some people find weeding really therapeutic and they love doing it. Other people find it a real bind, and I don't mind weeding too much, but this year, which is probably why I've said it, this year we've had loads and loads and loads of weeds, more weeds than I've ever known before, to be honest with you. And this year I've just seemed to have spent so much time weeding, and I've come up, like the onion patch for example, I weeded the onion patch out, and it took me a good sort of 3 or 4 hours to weed it all out and get it all nice. And 2 weeks later they were all growing back again, and it was like, so yeah, that's one job I don't like too much. What is your most favourite job is question number 5. My favourite job is planting seeds. I love to start things off in the greenhouse and stuff like that. That's the bit that I like the most, and and the excitement of growing something new, or starting to crop off. That's a real favourite job, and planting stuff out and getting it all nice and stuff like that. That's a real favourite job. So I find that quite sort of rewarding to do that. Digging, I don't mind digging as long as there's not too many weeds. Obviously, coming back to the first point, but I don't mind digging. A lot of people don't like digging, which is why they have raised beds and stuff like that, or they can't dig for whatever reason. But I don't mind digging. I find it quite rewarding to dig, because after you've dug, you can look back and think, I've dug all that now, that's all nice. So I don't mind digging too much, but I know that's possibly going to be a common response to that one. But yeah, the thing I like the most is setting seed and planting plants out. I think that's my favourite job in the year. Number 6, how long do you spend in the garden or in the allotment? How much you do? And I've answered this question a few times to a few people. Depending on the year, time of year, sorry. In the summer months, I don't spend a lot of time really up the allotment. It's spring. That's when the time's spent. During the spring, I can spend I don't know, maybe an hour or so a night in the week, and at the weekend I might spend maybe 3 or 4 hours up here a day. That's just to get everything ready and get it all in. As soon as it's all in and it's all up and running, and the plants are established, I might come up, half an hour or so just to give it a bit of water and stuff like that. But as I say, I'll just walk up from the house, give it a quick water and back again. It's no great deal. But if you had to drive to an allotment, this was the point. If you have to drive to an allotment, and you're spending 20 minutes to drive there to water for half an hour, and then 20 minutes back, it's best part of an hour, or so. But yeah, that's kind of how much time I spend. During the autumn, obviously you're digging the potatoes out, so that's a reasonable time consumer. And during the winter, you spend almost no time up here because there's not that much you can do. But yeah, the biggest time is the spring, and I would say I probably spend maybe for about possibly 10 hours a week, absolute maximum up here. Like an hour or so a night. And the one thing about allotment is it's little and often. To be honest with you, that's the joy of it. But that's absolute maximum. I would say on average probably more like sort of 6, 7 hours during the spring. That's only like the month of May really. That's that's when you need to spend the time to get everything ready. The next question is, what is your best ever purchase? As you know, I love a bargain. I'm always looking out there for ways to do things cheap and stuff like that, which is one of the arts of having an allotment. But the best buy I ever had was these metal trays. Now, believe it or not, these came from a garden centre that was closing down, which was near my parents' house. When I bought these, I was about how old would I be? Probably about 13, 14. I was already heavily into gardening at that point, and I went down there. There was a couple of things down there I wanted. There was a shed which I actually bought, and there was a few sort of bits and bobs, some other canes and stuff like that I bought. But they were auctioning all of these off, and these were actually in the shop, and these were all the way around, obviously with the plants on, and nobody wanted them. So the bloke said, who will give me, jokingly, he said, somebody make me an offer. And there was 120 of these that I bought. And I put my hand up and said 60 pence, just jokingly. And I got the lot for 60 pence. So I got 120 of these for 60 pence. And that's got to be the best buy ever. And I gave a load of them away, obviously, because I've got, at the time I had sort of a lot of friends that were into gardening and stuff like that, and so I gave by far the majority of them away. I only kept about my father's got about 20 of them. I've got 4 of them here, and there's a few more at my parents' house, but yeah, I gave probably 100 of them away to to different people, but I bought 120 of them for 60p. So I don't think you can beat that, too much with it. I have had quite a few good buys over the year, but that one I think is the one that stands out for me. The next one is what is your best ever yield? I think the best ever yield that I've had was 3 or 4 years ago with the potatoes, and I had an absolute bumper crop, and I had about 260 kilos of potatoes, and I don't think I've ever had better than that. But that was a really good year for potatoes. And the same year, I remember the strawberries. It was the second year that the strawberry plants were here, and I was just picking literally a bucket of strawberries a night, and I was doing that for the best part of about 6 weeks. And I just had strawberries coming out my ears. I was giving them away to all sorts of people, taking them into work and stuff like that. And then when the potato crop come in, it was just, I just got potatoes everywhere. It was fantastic. So that's probably, but I think that was down to the weather. But that was about 4 years ago, so that would have been 2011. I just had a bumper crop of potatoes. I don't know why, but every potato plant I was digging up, I was getting potatoes like this. There's like 4 or 5 potatoes like that on each plant, and then there was a load that was sort of like that as well. But yeah, that was the best ever yield. Okay, so the last 2 questions are a little bit more personal than the others, and they're not necessarily about the sort of garden as such, but different people garden different ways, and I think it's possibly related to what other skills that you've got, or what other hobbies and stuff that you do, like Foodie Laura. She's really into her cooking and stuff like that. So she tends to, gardening for her is an extension of her sort of cooking and stuff like that. So she's, so she's gardening, more towards the, sort of cooking side of things, where I'm more sort of enjoy the gardening side as opposed to the cooking side. But the 9th question is, what do you do when you're not gardening? And now, this can be a few things. What do you do as your job, or your profession, or whatever, or if you're retired or whatever? What do you do other than gardening, which is perhaps the question. Now, you could probably tell from from a lot of the videos that I put out there, my job is I'm actually a hardware design engineer, and I work for an electronics company that make parts for automotive use. So I design the engine control systems for cars and other sort of engines, if you like. So I'm very sort of ingenuitive, and you can probably tell that by the things that I do in the allotment. You know, I make a lot of things, and you know, there's a lot of mechanics and stuff like that. I don't tend to bring the electronics into the allotment too much, but I try to stay away from that. But that's why I'm quite practical and stuff with my hands. So I tend to build a lot of stuff, and I tend to look at things quite sort of pragmatically, and you know, there always tends to be quite a bit of an ingenuity style of the way I do gardening. And also when I look at the soil and stuff like that, when I've done the Mother Nature stuff like that, I always look at things quite scientifically, where other people, you know, look at it more artistically or sort of whatever. So I was just interested on what people do, you know, as their job or their profession, or you know, or what other things that they do other than gardening, because I think, you know, they bring them skills into the garden, which gives them a different style of gardening. So that was the question number 9, and the final question, number 10, is what other hobbies do you have other than gardening? So when you're not gardening, what are the other hobbies that you do? Now, personally, I play guitar, or any stringed instrument, pretty much. So I play ukulele, I play guitar, bass guitar. I also play the drums, so I'm quite musical as well. You know, that's one thing that I don't really bring that into the allotment as such, apart from the theme tune on the videos. But yeah, you know, other than your you know, sort of gardening, what do you do as other hobbies? You know, there's lots of different hobbies out there that different people do. I know a lot of people on the allotment are quite artistic. The lady that has the allotment next door but one to me, and John that is next to me, paints a lot, so they do, you know, they're quite artistic, and they do a lot of painting and stuff like that. And Keith over this side here is mad into his football, so he's got football as well, for, you know, as another hobby. So I was just interested on what other people do in the rest of their spare time, if they've got any. But anyway, those are the 10 questions I like to put out in response to Laura's questions. So what I'll do is I'll put those questions in the comments below. Please either comment in the either put your answers to those questions in the comments, or make a video, and you can post a link on the bottom of this one or whatever. But that's the allotment challenge part 2, if you like. So thank you very much. So I hope this episode has been of some use to you. Please don't hesitate to put any comments or questions below, and obviously if you answer the questions, either answer them below in the comments, or publish a video and put a link in at the bottom so we can all get to your answers. And I'll see you on the next episode of Jim's Little Garden.